And welcome back to Thoughts of the Roundtable with me, Matt Rebar. Paul is not here today, but I am joined by the beautiful talents of Caroline and Brendan. And today we're going to talk about something that's not being talked enough. Politicians aren't covering it, the schools aren't covering it, Hollywood mainstream liberal media not covering it. We're going to talk about dating. Caroline, I know this was your idea, and I want to give you due credit. Tell us, I don't know if this is a big question. Where do we begin? What's inspired you to be here today to tell us about the horrors of dating?
Oh, I actually just wanted to vent to you because I thought you would think this is just like absolutely ridiculous. But in the stats right now lie at four of us out of our friend group have all been either ghosted or broken up with by the second date,
Mm-hmm.
in the last month. So little ridiculous, but yeah.
So what's kind of crazy about that? I do want to hit that back. The first date to me is the harder hurdle. Because like in the first date, you go, do I like this person? Do I like him enough to see him again? I feel like the second date, the pressure is lessened. So what's happening that causes some people to fumble the bag on the second date, Caroline?
I don't think like anyone's fumbling the bag. I think in retrospect, a lot of guys who are on apps dating or asking girls out on dates and wooing them,
Mm-hmm.
uh, basically then go, I'm not ready to be in a relationship or date, which is just kind of ridiculous and backwards, at least to me, because it's like, why would you even be on an app?
Mm-hmm.
Or why are you treating me to a $200 dinner if there's no intention there?
Wait, so
What?
someone literally, is it like a hobby to just treat people to dinner? Is that like a new hobby that the kids are into these days?
Dude, I have no idea. I wouldn't say like a hobby. Like, I don't know if it's like something that gets guys off or if men just really enjoy the chase.
Mm-hmm.
But it just seems like every single person put such a good first impression, their good foot
Yes.
forward, and then just kind of retracts back into a shell after,
Mm-hmm.
1 to 2 dates.
They love bomb you.
Oh,
I mean, is that like a common thing between like gays, would you say? Like, do you guys go on dates and like drop $200 on each other just to fuck?
so I barely dropped $5 to like pay for someone else's drink at the bar who's a friend. I mean, like I'm gonna call out Brennan here. Every time I visit Brendan's like, I'm keeping tabs on how much we owe each other. Like the idea of spending $200, like no way. Like the idea of spending $200 on someone I don't know, no way. The idea of spending $200 for a date when I'm like, I'm not ready for a relationship, no way. That's the confusing part. If they genuinely were like, I like this person, I'm gonna spend $200 on the first date because like I want to impress. And then later on, they're like, I actually didn't want a relationship this whole time. Like, I feel like not only are you out $200, you are out my dignity and respect. And also, like, I'm confused, right? Brendan, what do you think about this?
Well, I went on a date not too long ago with someone, and they were really fun in person. And that was the drunk side of them. And then we hung out when they were sober, and I did not like them at all. They were completely different, like not looking me in the eyes, not really talking. I would talk more than they would. And it got really awkward because I talk a lot. I talk a lot to the point where like the white stuff comes to the side of your mouth, like you have rabies or like whatever it's whenever the doctor
What?
like that stuff.
Girl, you
So
are Fleming. Is that how much you were
yes.
talking? You
Oh
have
my
like,
God, it's so bad. And then it like comes off your mouth, and then you see it like land on their lip, and you're like, do I tell them or not? And then it just gets awkward with the silent. And then I just said to them, I was like, well, now what do we talk about? And yeah, so I don't know. I talk way too much. And I warned them at first, like, hey, by the way, like I talk a lot. And they're like, oh, yeah. I'm like, no, that's not me trying to like be weird, like make a move. Like I literally talk way too much. Anyway, what was the question?
well, I really before because I think you raised a good point.
Honestly, just quickly to add to that too, these aren't rich men. Like this isn't New York City where these men are like financial bros or bankers
Mhm.
or, trading stocks. Like this is someone who's farming in urban America and someone who is like a marketing analyst. Like that doesn't scream big money or drop $200 on a date, especially if like
Oh
they're
yeah.
doing this continually.
Well, that's the
Yeah, and
thing.
hanging out, going to concerts.
Are they doing it continuously, or do we think that this is like maybe this is like the first date they've had in a long time? Like, because I'm wondering too, like, okay, it's stupid to think like I'm gonna go on a date and spend $200, but I don't want a relationship. Like, then why are you spending all this money or even going on that date, right? Like, the first date was a waste of time if you are already in that mental. But then two, like, I don't know, do guys like not think that through? Like, is there a guy who's like, I'm like so ready to go on a date with Caroline, and I'm gonna get there and spend money, and then it's like after the date they're like, wait a second, I don't want this. Like, when's the thought process kicking in?
Right. Well, and the thing is too, this isn't just me like going through it. Like there's a friend of mine going to a really nice restaurant like tomorrow with a guy for a first date. So like this seems to be a trend across guys. I don't know if they're doing it for one girl particularly, but it just seems like it's a constant thing that's happening amongst like all
Mm-hmm.
women. Like they're being treated like queens on the first or second date, and then the second, they hook up or maybe they get to the second date and it's over. There's a text or no text. And
They just don't text me back, please. Like,
yeah, like I'd rather just not have the effort
I,
put in at that point. But
Mm-hmm.
kind of going into a funny story, went on 2 dates with this guy and ended up going to his house after work so he could break up with me after 2 dates because it got too serious and he said like, "Oh, I don't want to date." And I was like, "Why did I go to a concert and meet your friends? Like why did you cook me dinner at your place?" It
Yeah.
just doesn't add up in the end.
Well,
And
and
this
then
isn't just me. Like
well,
other girlfriends of ours, like last night at trivia, we all had a
mm.
horror story to tell about this.
And it's not just the straights. I mean, like earlier this year, I was talking to someone and it was going great. It was fine. It was chill. And then all of a sudden, I have too much anxiety. I like you too much. And you're giving me anxiety because I like you too much. So I can't do this. And I'm like, okay, one, like if you like me a lot, that should be a good thing.
Super
But then
flattering.
two, like, I don't know, like see a therapist, like calm yourself down. Like we hadn't even like met yet. That's the best part. We're talking for a week. And I like you so much, I'm giving you anxiety to the point where like you can't function and thus have to like, and part of me is like, listen, if it's an elaborate ruse to just
Mhm.
stop talking to me, like, okay, but you could have just said, hey, I don't want to talk anymore. And I would have been like, no worries, no sweat. Like it happens. But like
Or just
if it's
ghost me at that point. Like I'll just delete your
yes,
number and I don't care. On
yeah.
to the next. Like,
absolutely. And at the end, when they're like, "Can we still stay friends?" It's like, no,
oh yeah. Like, oh, can
no.
can we stay friends? Give me a hug. You're such a sweetheart. Like, you know what? Shut up. Like, I don't want to hear any of that at this point. And it,
You're
it
such a
really
sweetheart.
doesn't matter because I already know all those things. And like you're saying, oh, I'm too much or not enough. Like I already know
I
that I
hate
am just the perfect amount.
I hate
So
I hate when people are like, let's stay friends. I'm like, girl, we went on 2 dates. Like we ain't friends yet, even. Like what let's stay friends. Like it's not like we had like a 5 year long relationship and like actually like this is 2 dates. What do you mean let's stay
right,
friends? We didn't get to friends. So
right.
and you have a couple other stories. I know I heard that you talked to someone, a gentleman who had a cast on recently.
Oh, Cast Boy. That was,
Tell me
yeah.
tell me about Cast Boy.
Well, actually, Cast Boy was someone that I met while I was out with you two in Denver.
Oh, Shantae.
And yeah, we hit it off. It was a connection like kind of found in person, but yeah, we went on a few dates. It was great. And then yeah, just kind of slowly fizzled out. Got a text saying he was sad about having a cast on. And, having a cast for 3 weeks is pretty tough. So don't blame him. But yeah, he needed to take a step back because he was sad about his cast, and he said we could hang out once he gets it off though. So fingers crossed.
I okay, but
Just kidding.
like not to minimize like because yeah, I've never had a cast, but I can imagine it's not a walk in the park. But like the cast is affecting him so much that like a talented, smart, beautiful girl who I would say is a distraction from the cast,
Well, I was gonna say
right?
too, like if you can make out with a cast on, you can text me back with a cast on. Like it's not that hard.
Yeah, it's not. It's not. And I also heard a story that in Denver that there was a young gentleman who was also I think doing a date or two or three, and then was like, "Oh, by the way, we can't actually be a thing because my religion prevents me from dating outside of my religion." Which that story pisses me off because now I can get the guy who goes, "Yeah, I'm not ready for a relationship," but if you know you're looking for someone who matches up with your religion, like, shouldn't that be like the second question you ask on Tinder? Like, hey, how are you? And who do you pray to? What do you like? What do you pray? Like, I don't know. Like, are you Bible? Are you team Bible or team Pentateuch? Like, I can't believe. Can you walk us through that story as well?
Oh gosh. Well, yeah, we went to a really nice fancy dinner, went to a wine bar for our first date. I kind of told him like, "Hey, I don't really want to be with someone in a physical way if I don't see it going somewhere." And he kind of assured me in that moment like he did, and he was looking forward to another date. And yeah, got a text a couple days later basically saying, "Yeah, I would love to keep things casual. You're great. However, I'm looking to date within my religion and you're not that." And I responded by saying, "You know what? That's totally fine. However, that was something that could have been discussed before, and just take that as a lesson for next time because it
Mhm.
it doesn't feel great to be put in that situation either from either end." But
Mhm.
yeah, it just seems like he kind of knew that or had to have known that before and said whatever he had to kind of have his moment, but
Mhm.
whatever.
Brendan, I'm sure you can speak for both of us about, people who kind of like miss I don't want to say miscommunicate because I think this guy it's a bit more intentional than miscommunication, but kind of say, "Oh, I'm looking for X," or "Hey, I like you," and then flips the script kind of like that. I don't know if you've had any experiences lately.
Um, no, so I usually ghost men before ever meeting them.
Tell us more about
And
that. That's interesting.
Why?
I don't know why. It's like I don't like commitment. And then
Mm.
like I don't know. I just the amount of people the people that I like swipe left on, believe me, like you have to be a 10 out of 10 for me. Like,
Right, but you'll go on a date with someone that said they want to shoot you.
Yeah, can you walk us through that date?
yes. So we were talking for a few days, and this person was like, after maybe I think it was after like five like messages back and forth on Hinge. They're like, what do you like? Do you want to meet up right now? I'm like, no,
Hmm.
I don't. And then they're like, okay, well, let's do brunch tomorrow. I was like, okay. And they're like, where do you want to go for brunch? And I was like, anywhere with bottomless mimosas. And then, yeah. And then so we made plans. And then he was out at a bar with his friends. I was like, oh, should I come? He's like, I don't care. Like, I'm not going to beg for you to come. I was like, okay, I'll come. Meet up, pretty cool person, like, didn't pay any attention to me. And I was just basically making fun of him to his friends for not paying any attention to me. And then he got kind of weird and he's like, oh, yeah, like, let's go back to mine and have Uber Eats. And then I was like, mm. And then he was being like really mean to me in the car. And I took a video and I like sent it to my siblings of like what he was saying to me. And they're like, what the, he's a loser. He's a loser. I was like, yeah, right. So I jump out of the Uber and then I cancel the ride and run away. And I run back to my apartment. And then he was just calling me like really bad, like expletives. Is that the word? Yeah. And then saying that he was gonna like, I don't know, like boo me. And I was like, oh. And then we went on a date the next day. And it it was fine. It was fine. I paid for the entire thing.
You
But then,
paid?
Yeah.
wow, that's generous. Okay, here's my question though. Like,
$500.
why do you think it
What?
stalled out? Because I would have thought that after that first night, it would have kind of gone nowhere. But like, it seemed what stalled out? What happened?
I don't know. Like, I mean, I guess I didn't like the sober side of him. Much prefer the other side of him, where
Hmm.
he was more talkative. And we were just talking and just very silent, not looking at me in the eyes. And I mean, I feel like, no, he's not nice. He's not a nice person. I was gonna say, I feel like he has a nice size, but no. Yeah, just kind of like mean. And I was telling him about I was in a fraternity, and he's like, "Oh wow, like that's such a red flag, like you having to pay for friends and
Um.
just like make fun of me." And yeah, so that fizzled out. And then I was celebrating my dad's birthday over the weekend with my family, and he's like, "So when's the second date? I'm really busy." And I was like, "Yeah, sorry, I'm busy for the next 2 weeks," and just like ignored me. Trying to get a free meal, but guess what? No.
Rude.
Wow, that's an interesting
Um,
story though, because it
yeah,
seems
What?
like he
Brendan, can
wanted to
I
see you again.
can I ask Brendan how much was the date?
What was that?
How much was the date, Brendan?
How much did you
Five hundred
spend?
dollars.
How
200?
500.
500? What? Where did you go?
I don't know, someplace called like Gibson.
Brendan?
Well, I
Brendan. I'm
yeah.
shook because earlier we
So
talked about this and you were like, no, I don't think this has happened to me recently. And you pulled the guy. Okay, so you know what? It's a men thing, Caroline. I think we've
I
answered
guess
that.
I was gonna say you're giving like straight guy energy right now because what? What?
I didn't want to go on it. I did not want to go on the date.
Yeah, but then like
It's
you
probably
went on
how
the
these
date,
men
then you went
feel
on the date and
too.
then you spent 500
Oh,
bucks.
you're right. Oh my God, maybe I am the bad guy.
Brendan.
I'm sorry.
Oh my God, that is crazy.
Yep. So
It
that's
sounds like he was also kind of a poop bag. So
I mean, absolutely. I mean, I hearted his message after what he said he was gonna do. I was like, right. But other than that, that's everyone that I've spoken to. I mean,
Mhm,
I don't know. I'm always on the move. I don't like commitment at all.
mhm. Carolyn, do you think that you're averse to commitment, or do you think that it's something that is earned, and people just don't want to like earn it?
I don't know what it is. I think my friends and I are just like very open people and
Hmm.
we give a lot of trust to people in our lives and we don't really give a reason not to trust until
Hmm.
it's kind of taken away a little too late. So I guess that would be my perspective on it is some of these people just don't want to be vulnerable and open
Yeah.
up. And I think a lot of girls are emotionally mature
Hmm.
compared to men, especially men our own age and even men that are older sometimes. I mean, I just dated someone that was in his 30s and he had probably the same emotional maturity as my ex who was a year
Mm.
younger. So
Oh,
it
the
just
axe.
doesn't seem like, I don't know, like
Yeah.
maybe they just don't get it, or maybe us girls are just looking in all the wrong places. So
Well, part of me, obviously the last 20 years with technology, social media, a lot of things are changing and they're changing quickly. But part of me thinks that, well, the way that these men are acting can't have been super different from 30, 50, 70 years ago. So it's like, do you think that men are the ones that are changing, or do you think it's women's expectations have changed and men are just not meeting them?
that's a good question, but I think that women all throughout history love getting flowers, love having a man come home and like
Mhm.
take care of them or talk to them. I don't think a lot has changed other than maybe women have become more independent.
Mhm.
And men don't know how to handle that because they're used to women kind of catering to them, especially, when you look at housewives, and that was the norm for so many years amongst my parents, my friends' parents. And now, it's kind of expected that women also work, and that, if you are a single mom, you're still working. And if, you do have a husband, you're still kind of have your own career
Mhm.
path. And I just think that women have taken on so much more throughout history, and men have kind of just stayed stagnant. And it's not what we expect. It's more like they just expect us to be less.
Oh, that's really interesting. Because part of me feels too, if you look at marriages in the 50s and 60s and 70s, maybe one would argue too, it's like you do it because, well, there's the societal shame of having sex. And as animals, right, we have that instinct in us. And so you're 19, 20, you're like, oh, well, I got to get married to do that. And then you kind of get locked in. Also, they weren't dating that long before marriage. That courtship was very small. So you would talk to someone for maybe even just like less than a year and get married. And it's kind of crazy to think about that because, like, I think, Brennan and I spoke about this. We're like, it would take me a year to maybe introduce someone to my parents. Maybe, you know what I mean? Like, that's how long it would take. It would take me like 5 or 6 years to really think about maybe marriage, right? So that threshold of time has shifted. I think that's shifted, but I also think there's a lot more people who are identifying problems in the sense that, I remember talking to this one guy who was like, he was 20, I think I was like 25, he was 25, and he was like, yeah, ever since this bad relationship in college when I was 20, I've had trust issues. And I'm like, okay, so you've identified that you have these trust issues, but you spent 5 years doing nothing to work on that. Like if I, found, whether it was through you two or myself, if I was like, oh man, I have blank issues. Like I would want to fix that. But it's crazy to me. There's a lot of people out there that are like almost identified the problems that they have, and I think they're fine with it. I don't know. What do you think about that, Caroline, Brennan?
Brendan, I don't know. I kind of get what you're saying about, yeah, there's expectations and green flags and yellow flags and red flags and black flags and icks and yums and whatever, all that bullshit. But I, in the end, like, I think that maybe women in the dating pool that I'm in are, like more comfortable with themselves and more confident in who they are as a person. And I think men, maybe aren't or don't know who they want to be or what they want to be perceived as. And I think, I don't know. I I think everyone should be in therapy for sure. And if you're
Yeah.
not, go go do something about it
See,
because
if you don't
the
have
rest of us are out here growing.
if you don't have, I like that response. If you don't have any red flags, I'm probably not going to be into you.
Can we play a game?
Yeah,
Let's
let's play a
let's
game.
let's each say a red flag, a yellow flag, and a green flag, and y'all have to decide. Or you know what? We'll just say like one term of phrase, and then you decide if it's a red flag or green flag.
Let's do it.
Okay.
Let's do it.
Okay. Okay. Um, they bring their pillow in a trash bag to your house to sleep over.
Uh, is it because they had a lot of things to carry and they needed some vehicle of transport?
No, I think they just wanted their pillow to stay clean and they preferred their pillow.
Red flag.
I'd say yellow flag, just because like
Okay.
I kind of get it, but like it depends on how it stacks next to the other flags. If
Okay.
there's like a lot of weirdness happening, like I think we're all allowed to have some weird quirks, but like if that's one of like a billion weird quirks, then it becomes like the yellow shifts over, I think, a little bit.
Okay.
But Brendan looks horrified.
Okay. They threatened to assault you with a weapon.
Red flag. Do we? Why did you present that like? Ooh,
Wait,
this
are
is
we
gonna
in
get there.
bed during this or is this like in the streets?
Is the
No,
weapon a
you're
metaphor for the
in an
bedroom?
Uber ride. You're in an Uber with them.
Oh, red flag. you are on your way to get murdered. 100%.
Oh my gosh.
But you hop out of the car and then you cancel the Uber ride before anything happens.
This feels very personal. You know what? I'm gonna use, because the situation that's happening to me right now, I'm gonna use it. A lack of communication, but it's not malicious. They're not very communicative.
100% red
Texters.
flag. Red flag.
I would say that's a yellow flag because I typically don't text someone back like 3 to 5 hours unless it's someone I like really care about. So
See, like for myself, if you don't pick up after the first call, I'm calling you 17 times until you pick up.
Okay, yeah, you're insane.
Yeah, Brendan, you are putting a lot of energy out there today. Okay, next one.
They have really great teeth, but they still brush their teeth with a Tiny Toons toothbrush. You know, those like
Oh, yes, but that's
teeth
green. That's fine. That's
I'm
fine.
calling the pedophile alert department. Red flag. That's weird.
The pedophile alert department, girl.
Who is that? Do you have their number on speed dial?
It's like 111.
Is this a real situation, Caroline?
Maybe.
How much plaque is in their teeth?
No, the teeth were good. It was simply the teeth were great.
The teeth are great. They just love Tiny Toons toothbrushes.
Let's see. They never text you back unless it's a few weeks later and they still continue watching your stories.
Okay, a few weeks? If we are not talking for a few weeks, I'm sorry, you're off the table completely. Like, there's no flags to give you. Like,
they're like soft ghosting.
I'm talking friendship right now, though. Like, red flag.
Are you talking about Caroline? Is that shade on Caroline?
No.
Oh.
Wait, do I do that?
No, it's not you. I just have to get rid of some friends.
Gotcha. My next one, this is inspired by you, Caroline, just now. Eats a daily Flintstone gummy.
Honestly, I loved those things as kids. And if I had the funds to afford vitamins, then yeah, absolutely. I would love to.
Brennan, did you say red flag?
I said green flag. That was so good. I would have like 14.
Oh my God, I would crank those out. It would be nonstop. All right, Caroline, next one.
They baby talk to their dog.
Okay, to the dog.
Oh, to dog.
To their dog. To their dog, not to you. Just to their dog.
Red or green flag. That's cute.
I think that's cute too.
I would say yellow. I think it depends on how much. Yeah, it's an amount for me. If it's a little bit, oh, come here, like we all do that. But if it's always like, oh, like then it's like it's too much. Yeah.
Okay, they are funny, but they have really bad breath and body odor.
I feel like that's okay. I'm gonna say yellow, and here's why. I feel like that could be changed. I feel like that's a conversation where you're like, put on the Old Spice deodorant, brush those teeth. Like, I feel like
you really think at 26, 27, like in your late 20s, that should be a conversation had?
I mean, no, but like some people, okay, I'm gonna give benefit of the doubt. Some people are clueless. They don't like pick up on that kind of
if
stuff.
you're showing up to a first date, you better shower. You better put on like cologne or something.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Deodorant.
You're probably right.
You can't be stinky. That's a first impression.
What about they tie their shoes with the bunny ears?
Isn't that how you tie a shoe?
Wait, that's how I tie my shoes, Brendan.
I think everyone ties their shoe with the bunny ears. How else are you tying a shoe?
You have to like take one thing and then you have to wrap it around and then.
Yeah, no, that's
ladies, is it gay if your man ties his shoes with bunny ears? Let us know. How about this one? When you ask to go out to a restaurant, takes you to BW3, Olive Garden, or IHOP.
Are you hungover the next day, or is that why you're going?
Yeah, I'm confused. Like, if I really wanted that, I would just get depressed and go myself.
Oh my gosh, you guys are on a date and you're making small talk, or you're just conversing, and then every single time you ask him or her a question, he responds, but there's no like ask back, or there's always silent. You're the only one talking.
Oh my God. So this is funny you say this because I'm kind of going through this like a little bit, and it always sucks being the initiator of conversation. Like it almost feels like they don't care, and maybe that's not the case. But like, can you at least be like, how about you? Or like, I don't know. Like there's definitely points where you could add into that. I think that's a red flag, Caroline.
I think, yeah, red flag.
Red flag. Yeah, just talk. It's not that hard to talk. You can literally just make something up. Just make me laugh. It's our first date. It's supposed to be awkward.
Well, here's the thing too. Like, I don't know if this is just like a me thing, but I usually like kind of have at least some questions prepared or look at their profile if it's an online like blind date. So I have like something lined up to go off of. So I'm not just like freaking out, like trying to make a question pop into my head to ask them. But I think like a good first date too is conversations flowing. Like it doesn't matter. It could just be like banter, something stupid, or you guys like making jokes about what other people in the restaurant are doing or whatever. Like anything, literally anything.
I agree. I got one for you. On the first date, mentions, oh, we should just start dating officially.
See, I'm crazy like that. I'd be like, okay.
Yeah, I could see Brendan getting married after like 3 dates. If it's like, oh, you
oh
dared
my God,
me.
we're not talking about me getting married. Then we have to talk about my bachelor party, and that's a whole other TV show.
What about you, Caroline? First date, already mentioning, oh yeah, we should probably just like date. Shouldn't we date? Like, oh.
I think that's the red flag. That's like a little too fast.
A little too interested, a little too energetic.
Especially like officially dating. Like if like let's say we're on our second, third date and things are going well. Like, yeah, the question of can we be exclusive or are you talking to other people might come up. But
Never got that question.
First date, that's intense.
Yeah.
I think you got like a stage 1 clinger.
I've never gotten that question of like, oh, what are we? Or like, are you talking to anyone else? I've never gotten that.
Really?
I've never been far. But also it's like, if someone's like, oh, we should start dating exclusively, I probably wouldn't know what. I'd probably stall because I'd be like, are you sure?
Do you know me?
Okay,
do you know me? But no, I know your grandma. I know where she went to college. I know the year she emigrated to the United States off of the boat that came to the U.S. What was it, Titanic?
Ellis Island?
Ellis Island. I know everything about your family. I know what your voice sounds like. I know your YouTube that you had in second grade. I know your Club Penguin username, everything.
Girl, you were like, that's what, even the FBI is like, can you give us your research? Like, girl, that is intense.
Yeah, I feel like the last couple guys I've been on dates with just don't have socials or like aren't present on social media.
Okay,
so
but
that's
here's
like
a theory.
Whole other thing to go into. But
I have a theory that some people are lying about their social accounts because they don't want people doing the creep. They don't want people creeping.
I always find them.
Always. I mean, especially if it's like an online date, like I will find a way to find you on Google. Yeah. Like, but if I know them like as a person through friends, like no, I'm not gonna do the creeping because I feel like that's kind of weird and I'd rather just like get to know them.
No, I need to know everything about you at first.
All right, Caroline, give us another flag alert.
Okay, they're really good cooks.
Okay.
They're a really good cook, but they whistle the entire time they're cooking.
Oh,
green flag. I'll just leave the room, put headphones on. That's fine if it's good food.
Yeah. I just learned how to whistle like a couple months ago, so I like that.
Girl, Brendan you did not whistle there. You tooted at best. Caroline kind of whistled.
I was covering it up.
Okay, Brendan, give us another. We have a couple more minutes. Give us another flag.
Let's see. They have an awful relationship with their family.
I'm not gonna say. I'm not gonna
say red. I'm waiting for but if that's just the end all be all, then maybe no, because I come from a big family. So
I would
call that a red flag.
I wouldn't say red.
That's a red flag.
I wouldn't say red.
And their excuse is like, oh, my parents are just like really annoying. Like, no, red flag.
Get over it. We're all adults now. Don't blame
it
your
depends.
parents for your trauma.
Yes.
See, like, I'm the kind of person who's like, I need to know the full details. Like, if it's just like a thing, like I find them annoying, I do think that's a red flag. So it's like, okay, well, clearly they raised you and they nurtured you, so you know, I don't know. There
Yeah,
should be
like
at
if
least
your
a
dad
level
was
of
a
like,
serial killer and your mom was a prostitute
Oh,
or something,
speaking of,
I understand, but also that's messy. I
mhm.
don't messy. I don't know.
I don't know. It depends if they have it organized. Like we're not, you know, I don't talk to my family, I don't see them, etc. You know, I can get that. I can respect that. Okay, let me give
Right,
us.
but I'm imagining like crazy calls.
Yeah, I am too.
you have a minute and 40 left.
Okay, I'm gonna give us one more, but I gotta think of a really juicy one. Ooh, ooh, they live in an absolute shit show of a house or an apartment.
Red flag. Ew.
Oh no.
Just now, even if you
Bad.
didn't have to go there ever, just the idea that he lives in
No.
squalor.
No,
No.
no, 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 no. I think your space says a lot about you as a person.
Yeah.
It
Like if you
does.
just have white walls, you might be a serial killer. Like no art, nothing. Like
Brendan's
I'm
like, wait a minute.
concerned.
I was thinking around to make sure.
Well, listen, this has been fun,
Or
and
maybe it's like too much stuff makes you a serial killer.
now I love your
Wink,
space. Your
wink. No,
space
I'm
is
not. Please, government, don't look into
stop it,
me.
FBI agent. This was fabulous. I want to do this again because that, first of all, green, yellow, red flag. That is such an amazing game, and I feel like we only scratched the surface, and we are here as inspirations to all the single people out there. That guess what? It's not just you. We're all suffering, and married people, you're suffering too, probably, just in different ways. So,
Most likely.
the suffer train will continue another time. I want to thank both of you, Brendan and Caroline. Thank you so much for taking time, and we'll see you soon.
Love you both.
Bye.